After you learn something, you cannot hide from it. It was important for me to create a work which would not shock people. By stepping in a mortuary fridge, I didn't want them to feel anxiety or claustrophobia. I want them to understand that they are in a place that keeps precious things, once human remains, now information. The starting point of the projection is more than 32,000 video clips, equaling 88 hours of continuous stream of viewing footage. Because of the randomness in which the clips are played, it's impossible to see the same thing again. In the archive we created, there are video footages from the war, photographs, news reports, but also legal and military documents, forensic reports, testimonies, lists of missing persons, interviews. I went to the former concentration camps, the mass graves, execution sites, the places where crimes were committed, as well as DNA laboratories and the courtrooms. Each piece of evidence, each single person, or the location is just a small knot in a huge web that we create. It's our world, we are all connected. I worked very closely with the ICMP. They were very open for collaboration and they helped in the development of this project. I was able to learn about the process of identification and the process of DNA matching. It was important to understand how forensics developed thanks to these Bosnian cases. Before visiting Tomašice, I went to a mortuary in Tuzla and mortuary in Šejkovača, both supported by ICMP. I saw hundreds of human remains that still needed to be identified. I had a chance to see many personal belongings found next to the mortuary remains. All of that was extremely moving. Coming to the site where 434 bodies were hidden was very difficult. Close to the site there are houses with people living there. Just looking at the site was so haunting. There were whole families buried there. The destiny of these people has been unknown for 20 years. Because of the type of the soil, bodies were in the state of saponification, which means that bodies still had skin and tissue. They were not skeletons. They were actual bodies, almost recognizable. To understand the scale of the crime, it's important to know that there are more than 3,000 mass graves in Bosnia and Herzegovina. 20 years after the war, of 34,000 missing persons, there are more than 9,000 people still missing. Unfortunately, most of them will probably never be found. The difficult thing for me is to look at the landscape in Bosnia and not think about what it's hidden. This site is a dump. Somewhere on this location there are 3 bodies buried. What is very particular about this is that these remains were found and the site was marked. But just before exhumation could start, new crime was committed. The bodies were relocated, moved and hidden again. This story was extremely moving for me. I know the persons who were buried there. I know their names, I saw photos of them. I know their family history. There are these 2 beautiful twins from Kalinovic. They were 28 when they were taken away to the rape camp. And then from there, with 13-year-old boy, they were taken to the site where they were executed and where their bodies were buried. The crime continued by hiding the evidence, by hiding their remains. In our research, we came across a letter, an anonymous letter that reported on a mass grave in a Piljak pit near Foča. Over 80 bodies were thrown there. That was in 1993. Information about this location came in 2001 through the anonymous letter. 64 persons were identified from that site. This anonymous letter vanished for years. Nobody knew about it. We discovered it and now it's a part of the project. Although this letter is a very small, simple gesture, it shows so well that sometimes that kind of an action is of great importance. With small things we can make a huge difference. We are used to being led through the story, led through information. Even if I wanted, I wouldn't be able to make one narration out of the video clips. Each clip connects to every other. It is impossible to create one linear story, same as our memory function. Film should be seen as a document or an evidence. The square format and the hand that shakes. Even if not obvious at the first sight, the movement of the hand that records and the eye that drifts is there. It's integrated in the work. Information is seen by someone else, but soon we understand that we are that someone. This work can speak for those who can't, victims and witnesses, survivors, families who are still searching for their loved ones. I feel that maybe through this their stories will be knitted in a collective narrative that I believe we need. But this will also preserve personal memories. And maybe one day this will be how we learn about the past. The meaning of the search is connected to the idea of action, something that continues. This movement, this ongoing process is our wish to discover. It's not only a search for a truth, but a search for information, a search for a memory.